Hello, everyone. Hi there. I don't know if there is the possibility, even for a moment, to open the cameras, everyone, so we can see the faces that are behind these screens, just to know that you are not AI agents, just in that case. Okay, cool. Thanks so much.
Hi everyone.
Perfect. I think we should start, right? Um, so Hi everyone, welcome and thanks for having a bit of your time today to invest in this. Thanks for joining us from all over the world. If you are here, you're either seriously considering applying or joining to the MAIAD, merely curious about AI, but worried obviously about the potential of taking over our ways of doing creativity in the future, or you clicked in this place by error. In this case, maybe you are too polite to leave. If that's the case, it's okay. You can leave now. For a while, we will be trying to explain what we are doing at the MAIAD, at this Master in Applied AI for Arts and Design. And we will be showing a series of, let's say, reasons why we decided that this master was very necessary at this point. Um, to make a very brief introduction, this will be about maybe 30 minutes of conversation that we will be explaining the master. And afterwards, we can do a bit of a Q&A. So if you have questions, thoughts, things that you want to share, we can help you out with this. We will do a bit of introduction. That is exactly what I'm doing right now. Then we will explain why we decided that this master was relevant, a bit of context and our position on artificial intelligence, so we can see if we can have a common ground, the program overview, which are the subjects, which are the different parts of this program, the faculty, and of course at the end the Q&A. Okay. But first and most important, I think we should introduce ourselves, the directors of the master. Marta, if you want to start.
So hello everyone, I'm Marta Handenauer and I work as a creative and research director at Domestic Data Streamers. That's a studio that advocates for data literacy and wants to create meaningful conversations between information and people. I've been doing this line of work for the past 8 years, and aside from that, I'm a PhD candidate and curator. I specialize in philosophy of technology in the field of SDS. So hello everyone.
And I myself, I'm Pau Alecum. I'm a media designer. I co-founded Domestic Data Streamers, which is the organization that is partnered with ELISAVA for this master. And as Marta, we have been working together. For me, it has been almost 12 years working in this field of work. And recently, a couple of years ago, we founded Cedra AI, which is a company focused on artificial intelligence and the integration within public sector and cultural sector. And Padin, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I am Padin, and this is not my regular voice. I apologize in advance because I am absolutely destroyed in my throat. So I am a graphic designer by trade. I've been teaching for about 10 years in ELISAVA. Mainly, I'm mainly specialized in data design and information design. That was my career up until I started teaching. I co-direct with Pau the Masters in Data and Design, the MAD, in ELISAVA. And also I have let's say, a career as an artist with a company of theater called Cerrucho. So that's me. And I am going to leave to Pau then.
Thanks, Fabien, and thanks for the effort of explaining your
So
situation. Well, I also wanted to introduce to you a bit of ELISAVA. For the ones that don't know about ELISAVA, ELISAVA is probably the biggest and also the oldest design institution in Spain. It's bad that I say it because I love ELISAVA. I've myself studied at ELISAVA almost more than 2 decades now. No, 2 decades now already. But it's a place I love. It feels home for me, and not only because I studied there, because there is like a whole ecosystem. There are over 2,000 students. But what is interesting about this university, which is placed at the heart of Barcelona, it's in La Rambla. in the city center, which is interesting, is that it hosts students from over 90 countries. So like you can feel a lot like this diversity within the student base. But what is more interesting for me is that even if it's a big university, for a design university in Spain, the kind of spaces, the groups are very small, right? So it has always had like this intrinsic way of thinking and way of creating didactics in small groups, which of course is good because it have a good big university infrastructure for a Spanish university, but at the same time you work with between groups of 8 from 12 to 20 at max, right? So this is like the dimension normally of masters as the one that we will be talking about today. So right now we will be explaining a bit of why we decided that this master was relevant, and to talk about this, Padin, I don't know if you want to make an introduction about
Yeah,
the.
yeah, of course. We've been doing the Masters in Data and Design with domestic data streamers for 6 years. Almost 41 students have passed through or have worked with us in expanding the boundaries of what was understood that was data, the treatment of data through design, or the working with data as a prime material. So we've been 6 years trying to expand these boundaries, working with the students to um, create daring projects that go beyond what's or what everybody understands as data visualization. And during this time, of course, time passes and things happen. One of the things that happens, and it is unavoidable to assume and unavoidable to feel it while we were doing these 6 years of masters, is the appearance or the peak AI, so to speak. Not not only because it is in the public discourse, in the discourse around data, and it is the formalization of data nowadays, or the last layer of a data process, but because the students themselves were introducing AI in their projects. So we've been doing that slow process of introducing AI in the MAD up until today, when we felt it was time for boosting, keeping the data at the core of the masters, because data is the prime material that these models and these technologies work, and the prime material that we work when we do data and design, keeping that data core and just turbo boosting it and focusing on AI.
So I'll take it from here. As Padin was saying, data today cannot be understood or decontextualized from AI. And as Padin was saying again, it is something that we are seeing our students very eagerly exploring on their own. So it only made sense that we made this evolution from MAT to MAIAD. Let me also tell you a bit of how Domestic as a studio has been shifting its core way of working, its methodologies, and its portfolio, following the same process that many of you today might have been following. So as domestic data streamers, we have for the past 12 years been exploring and working with data, and not understanding that it exists alone as a technology that doesn't communicate with anything. It goes beyond being numbers. It is tightly linked with emotions, with responses, with societies, with big economical impacts, with sustainability. So it only made sense that that very cold thing that we often relate to, which is data, was merged with other tools or other skills such as design, art, and storytelling. Because when we talk about data, essentially it's a story about impacting society. So it only made sense that after all these years working and advocating for data literacy, as I was saying before, in many spaces, here are just like some examples, aside from the MAD, the Masters in Data and Design, We've been linked with the School of Economics here in Barcelona, with SVA in New York, with the United Nations, talking about AI and its role and societal role today, in the Museum of Reina Sofia, for instance, or the Hong Kong Design Institute. We have been sparking and opening up debates on what or how the creativity and creative mindsets should approach to this big challenge that exists in front of us. And out of all these results and all of these conversations that we internally have lived as a studio, but also externally, we've shared with every single person, creative person that we've had managed to have a conversation with, MAIAD was created. And so it is a critical, responsible, creative, and hands-on approach whenever we're working with data, the same way it used to be with maths. So if you already were looking at that master's program, there's going to be a core part that we will maintain. And then there's going to be evolutions that only come natural whenever we are focusing on one very specific tool that has got many complexities, such as AI, and that is MAIAD. So to put it a bit clearly, who is it for and what exactly is the Masters in Applied AI for Art and Design? It wants to empower creatives to understand this tool, not only as a tool to make a portfolio, but also as a space for artistic innovation and critical reflection. We make a big point on this idea of hands-on, which I think is something very unique and differential from this Masters. We will tinker with the machine, we will look at algorithms, we will be able to interact with them, because we don't understand that it is an external technology that somebody provides for us, but something that we need to insist on as an active practice. And only being hands-on, we can explore its true transformational potential. The second thing that I think is important for you guys to kind of get is that we internally at Domestic Data Streamers, we are developing very different experimental methodologies that guide our own portfolio and the way that we work internally. And it is something that we would like to share with you, but expand with you, with everyone that can be a student of this master's. We would like to expand this experimental methodologies, these guidelines, and kind of share and build the basics for creative responsibility whenever we're working with these tools. One of the big questions that we were asking ourselves is, who is this master's for? And we made a bit of a list and maybe try to see if you resonate with it. So if you're a professional who's seeking to innovate in your field through AI, if you're an artist, a designer, a creative that wants to explore AI as a tool for innovation, who wants to experiment with cutting edge technologies and incorporate AI into your creative practices, this master's might be for you. If you're a critical thinker who wants to engage with current AI debates, if you want to be understanding the contemporary debates that exist around AI's social, cultural, political, environmental impact, this master's might be for you. If you're a hands-on learner that has got a very experimental mindset and you would like to develop further your technical skills and gain experience through interactive workshops and this idea that I said before, tinkering with various AI-powered softwares. Or if you are an individual who's seeking professional growth, aiming to position yourself in the creative sector with a very strong portfolio and relevant AI skills, this is something that you might be really interested in. I'll pass the mic to Pau, who's going to give you a bit of context around what do we think or how do we go around AI.
Yes. So, well, of course, and it's a bit redundant, but artificial intelligence, it's almost everywhere. And we are seeing like this overhyped reality where it has become kind of a meme itself. The integration of artificial intelligence language within, or artificial intelligence softwares and artificial intelligence tools in every space of the domestic life. Right. I remember this image. I always show it because it was one of the times that I was more impacted by an image that was sent by a friend. This is a person that was selling images generated with artificial intelligence in La Ramblas, in one of these one of the most important streets in the city of Barcelona, which is a like standard thing to do, selling pictures and images and art in the street. But in this case, the fact that was generated by artificial intelligence was the new thing, right? And this was crazy for me because, of course, 3 years or 4 years ago, this would be like totally unthinkable. The fact that this reality was happening right in the street. The fact that such a powerful tool could be like right now in such an amount of accessibility to the hands of so many people. Well, Alice is saying that they are not seeing anything. Let me see. Hi, Alice. You presenting something? I don't see the images. Does anyone else see the images or don't? Manifest yourself.
It is right.
Emma says yes.
I can see. Okay, Alice, I'm so sorry, but this is you then. We can help you out. Don't worry. I don't know, Joanna, if you can help through the chat, Alice.
Okay, I'll try to fix it.
Okay, let's continue with
maybe
this.
if you go out and go back in, maybe.
The classic, the classic turn it off and turn it on.
Don't we all love technology?
Yes. Okay, let's keep on going. So these are like a kind of a recording of news that we have seen in the last, let's say, 2 years. Man who gave microwave artificial intelligence claims he tried to cook him to death. Or AI cannot produce better art than humans. Here's how. Or artificial intelligence godfather on AI possibly wiping out humanity. Not inconceivable, right? New AI is more creative than 90% of human researcher claims. Who are these researchers? No one knows. But apparently, like, these are the things that we are seeing on the news. And this is not something new. Like, this comes from long ago. In the 19th century already, Mary Shelley was talking about this. On Frankenstein, the modern Prometheus, he was already talking about this idea of we humans creating an intelligence that afterwards come after us with more power, with smarter than us. Right? And this idea of creating something that we have to be scared of is something that have built up a big part of our perspective and the narrative around artificial intelligence. Right? And these have kind of polarized a bit the situation and the context right now, making something that is, like, in our opinion, like terribly wrong, because it have placed people in one place or the other, whether artificial intelligence is inherently bad, unethical, and it will probably end up killing us all, or artificial intelligence is good and it will solve all our problems, right? And we see like people like Harari, for example, selling a lot of books actually explaining the doom of the humankind, right? And then we see like Ray Kurzweil, for example, like person obviously entangled within the Silicon Valley ecosystem saying, no, we should all invest in artificial intelligence and we will not need to work anymore in the future. It will cure all our diseases and so on. And what we are actually thinking of is that this situation that is actually also kind of being demonstrated in the news. Artificial intelligence yields new antibiotic. This is true. Like, this is not like a fake news. This is also happening. And the fact that artificial intelligence poses a risk of extinction, and the fact that companies like Google or companies like OpenAI are directly interacting with defense contracts, for example, with the government of the United States, these two realities are true, and this contradiction is true, right? But that doesn't mean that we have to be polarized towards one place or the other. That means that we need to navigate this circumstance more critically. And on that direction, like, there are these two examples of amazing people who are participating and critically engaging with the technology in that sense. Kate Crawford, who is an amazing academic exploring artificial intelligence. She has like this beautiful book. I recommend you reading that if you're interested in artificial intelligence applied to arts and design, which is Atlas of AI. It was released maybe 4 years ago. And she actually tries to understand what is hidden behind all the layers of artificial intelligence, not only the software itself, but which is the physicality of these things, which are the impact not only in the environment, but in the working conditions of people, for example. And then Holly Herndon, who is an amazing musician and artist, who not only worked with artificial intelligence to create her own models, but created a new system and a new kind of process to actually protect other artists when using their own voices using artificial intelligence. So understanding that artists and academics here are working together, people that come from very different disciplines, to rethink how this technology will affect us in the future, I think is one of the vital parts. And I think that's one of the backbones of this master, that that right now, when we talk about artificial intelligence, specifically generative artificial intelligence, the people that are doing that are mainly people from Silicon Valley, right? And they are mainly engineers talking about this. So we need other disciplines. We need other people with other gates talking about this, expanding what is possible and which are the limitations, which are the ethical dilemmas that we want to propose when we use this technology. Right? Again, I think artificial intelligence tends to be misunderstood as human intelligence most of the time, and this brings a lot of errors when integrating that. And this master also is about the demystification of this tool. Is if you are afraid of this, which happened to us almost half a decade ago, we were like, when we were starting to see the first GPT-2 in action, we were kind of afraid. We were saying, oh my God, like this is kind of entering into space that we thought that was reserved to the creative space, which was reserved to the humans. And if you are afraid, this master is also about the demystification of this fear, of understanding what is hidden behind. And for us, like this process of demystification has helped us a lot to lose the fear and actually take control of most of these tools. And then you can see like all the errors. Like this, of course, is a big example of pineapple and how these systems work, understanding that a pineapple, that is very clear for a human that all these things for us are pineapples, but for an artificial intelligence, only few things of these are pineapple, right? So like one of the things that we will be studying will be not only the software itself, but their connection with culture, their connection with semantics, their connection with our environment, how we can tweak, hack, and transform it into other ways of looking at the world, right? And of course, whenever we talk about generative AI, most of people tend to look at the like big part of this iceberg on the top, that they generate realistic images, they do beautiful text recommendation and transformation and translation and virtual assistants and so on, but there is like a big something behind it. And we have to look at each of these things. That it will be one of the things that we will be exploring through this master, understanding how we can actually transform the impact of these tools and these softwares and these technological systems into ways that are more aligned with our values. Right? And of course, a lot of people right now is talking about how these systems, artificial intelligence, is kind of standardizing the outputs, the outcomes, the way we design, the way we create, the way we think, right? By simplifying, by commodifying critical thinking. And I think what we want to do with MAIAD is actually reverse this system, show how these tools can be hacked, can be transformed, can be changed to actually create more diversity, to create adversarial ways of thinking through artificial intelligence. And I wanted to like finish this contextual introduction to the master by saying that like this sentence that I love from Nicholas Carr, an amazing scholar from the US, and he said the value of a well-used tool lies not only in what produces for us. It's not about like the kind of production value of using that tool, but it's what it produces also in us. There is kind of a mirror effect whenever we use this kind of technology, in the same way that whenever we use the phone and we forget about saving the phones in our head and remembering the phones of our mother, father, our sister, and so on, our friends, we forget about all these numbers. Like this phone, like this system has created an effect, an echo in ourselves, in our cognitive way of behaving in the world. And I think artificial intelligence and what we want to explore within this master is also how we can actually create systems and generate artworks, designs, and workflows that can actually create a positive impact, not only in the environment and the world, but also within us.
So what is exactly our invitation? So allow yourself to dream of yourself in a year from now. We would like our biggest invitation to be to use your projects, your portfolio to trigger this kind of thinking and these better conversations and these better narratives around AI. We have here set a few examples that are the kind of projects that we intend our students to be able to be producing a year from now. So the first one would be kind of a kind of project where the big challenge would be to kind of transform or to look at the possible impact of a database. In this case, we have a typical database that has got all this bunch of numbers and is essentially quantitative data. And this project is exactly a database that is showing over 3,000 answers of a survey that we did at Domestic Data Streamers that collected answers about the prevalence of sexism today. In the context of an exhibition, we asked over 3,000 people, what did you have to live because of sexism today? And then we gathered all these different answers. And so the challenge that in here we had was how to communicate those extremely meaningful stories. And we started the way that you, as any good data visualizer would, dropping them on kind of an Excel software and look at the frequencies, how often those words were appearing. But then we started seeing that we were creating misleading narratives. So for example, if we look at the word father in Spanish, padre, around 250 times it appeared in this database. But did it mean that the dad was a perpetrator of all these sexist actions? If we look back at the stories, we could actually see that it was not like that, that whenever we were looking closely at the stories, it was more like my dad was the only person that was there that day, or my dad was the only man that I could trust. But whenever we were communicating it like that, it felt like father had a big dimension, bigger than it actually has. So in here it is where we invited AI to play a big part into a process that we call probabilistic fiction. So the kind of tweak that we did was training a chatbot out of this survey so that you could talk with it, and it would be generating new stories from this database of 3,000 different narratives, so that you could be talking to everyone's story, but nobody's at the same time, creating a big conversation around the main topic that we wanted to, which was, in a sense, the prevalence of sexism. So in here, essentially, we were transforming bias as something that wasn't going to be eliminated, but something seen as something as positive, bias as something that was default and something that we actually wanted to bring forward and highlight. Let me give you another example of our way of thinking that we want you to be invited towards. In this case, we want to invite you to change the optics. So in here, for example, what we've been doing is using surveillance technologies that aim to track regularly civilians to hold those in power accountable. So what we have been doing is retraining a model to map sleeping politicians in 36 parliaments around the world. That is a simple change of gaze that this kind of artistic invitation allows us to have. Another example would be to move away, or asking ourselves the question, how can we move away from efficiency logics, which is a very prevailing narrative in AI, to something that looks more like care-driven logics. And I'm introducing you here on your right the project Synthetic Memories, where we use text-to-image technologies to document undocumented memories from displaced migrants, elderly people, or those who are at risk of losing their memories forever. And finally, one last invitation that I wanted to bring forward was how we can move from this story that Pau just told, where very often AI has got one main universal truth. You can think about ChatGPT and how it presents itself as the single source of truth with only one answer for each query that we do. How can we be using the same technologies to create this story of diversity, using AI not to reduce reality, but actually amplifying it, giving new points of view and highlighting biases? And so what we have created is a tool that we like to think it's for critical thinking. We call it Skeptic Reader, and it's a personal bullshit detector for the internet. It is a plugin that you can install, and for any news source, it will tell you different points of views aside from the ones that you're reading, highlighting different biases, and so allowing you to have different perspectives whenever you're reading your everyday news. That is kind of the mindset that we wanted you in terms of project to connect with today.
So this is a bit like some of the examples that we were expecting the students to work in. You can find more information of these examples in the chat. We have shared the links of each of these case studies. And to finish with this like brief introduction and to the context and the kind of projects we're exploring, there is like this important idea that is that artificial intelligence, although we see that is of course relevant and very exciting, is somehow being applied to everything right now. Like we work with over 40 different countries for lots of partners and clients, and everyone is now trying to integrate artificial intelligence everywhere, and it feels like it's the answer to everything. But one of the things that we will try to explore in this master too is what are the questions that we are trying to answer, right? And that depends on each of you. And I think is one of the beautiful parts of this master is that you will be able to craft your own questions and find the right way to answer it with artificial intelligence. I think now we could go through the program overview. Yeah, let's start.
Yeah. So to try to answer these questions, we have designed a program that tries to, first of all, have in mind all these ideas that Pau and Marta has just stated, to be just present and aware in the moment surrounding this, in our moment that it is surrounded by these technologies. And then we have designed the program to embrace all kinds of practices and origins. I mean, most of you come from different backgrounds, and there will be coming together into this new field. So there will be a kind of process of adjustment while we start this journey into the incorporating AI tools into your personal practices. Of course, in this will be like a trip or a journey, and there will be moments of moments of discomfort, moments of really splendid job, and that's okay. I mean, there will be super hard work most likely, and there will be also fun. So we have designed the course in 5 modules. The first of which is Foundation of AI in Arts and Design, in which we lay the groundwork for responsible AI integration in arts and design. We will try to build a solid foundation in AI principles and ethics, empowering informed, responsible, creative applications with significant societal impact. So this is based into, can you go further? This is based in, or is divided into main parts, foundations and AI ethics. Foundations, of course, is the practical basis of the tools. You will explore the basics of this technology, but also advanced concept practice with main tools, all through practice, which is the main course. The second is AI ethics. So in AI ethics, we try to lay the space in which we are working, not only theoretically or defining which tools are the ones we are going to use or not, but what are the what are the societal impacts of these technologies? How can we incorporate them profoundly into our practices? With yeah. So the second module is technical domain and tool implementation. We will dive deep into cutting-edge AI tools for art and design. Of course, this is the practical core of the masters, the technological heart of it. We will experiment, customize, and innovate to push boundaries and create personalized, groundbreaking creative solutions. The idea here is that we separate two spaces. One is advanced AI art generation, and the other one is AI hacking. What does that mean? The tools are there, the tools are at our disposal, and they come out of the box, and we are going to use them all, from generative models of image, audio, video, all of them. Crea, Midjourney, 11 Labs, Runway. We are going to learn how to use them as they come, to incorporate them in our practices. But at the same time, we are going to break them down. Or at least try to scratch the surface of these technologies and try to not only learn how they work, but to try to tweak them and twist them and try to make them things that they are maybe not supposed to do, but they are of value for our work. We are going to repurpose them into our own practice. I don't know how to signal the next one. Yes, sorry.
Okay.
The third module is interactive and experimental applications. We will explore here the intersection of technology and creativity. You will design interactive real-time experiences that connect audiences and creations through innovative applications of AI and experimental media. What does that mean? Two ideas here. One, it's interactive, and the other one is experimental. So we are going to enter a dialogue with AI and interactive arts, and that's, I mean, we have to be aware that all we are doing is interacting with machines somehow, and our public is going to be interacting with the outputs that we are going to create. So this introduction of humans in the loop, it is important for us. This maybe we can talk about it like interaction, but it's probably more open than that. So yes, we would.
Padin, one of the important things is that, as Padin was saying, this is not about the software itself, but this is about how it interacts with the society, right? So one of the things that we wanted to explore is how artificial intelligence explores and is performing in a public space, how we can do that in a museum, how it can stay and exist within a university environment, right? And a big part of the interactive and experimental applications of artificial intelligence is a practical based set of subjects, which will be focused again in experimental but very practical techniques that will be actually showing you how to approach to it in the physical realm, not only in the digital one, but in this interaction with the like day-to-day life.
Yeah, and not only it is relevant for the output, but also for our process. We are going to try to create this experiment because this is we are making it up as we go. So we are going to try experimental methodologies to achieve this goal of incorporating these technologies into our work, blending techniques and creating things that doesn't exist really. So the fourth module, research and social impact. Here we will engage in AI-driven projects addressing contemporary social issues. Through rigorous research and creative methodologies, you will use data and storytelling to connect audiences with meaningful social critiques. So what does that mean? There's two aspects here. One, the more acknowledging that we need these research processes and that these research processes are also affected by AI and that they will also incorporate AI into it. So it's not only like an output focused system or process, but we will incorporate AI into our research methodologies, into our data analysis, into our practices, into our practice-based methods, and also, of course, in data-driven narratives, and also AI and AI art and design with social commentary imply that we will create that we are assuming that we live in surrounded by people, we live in the world, and that this dialectic between the world and our work it's their thing. No, it's not like we are creating something and throw them at something out there. It is like these technologies are part of this dialectical process with society. So we are going to encourage, collaborate with communities and create projects that focus on audience response. We are also acknowledging that the public is there and that the public is not a passive subject with no agency, but has something to incorporate into, or something essential to incorporate to our projects. Finally, in this will, I don't want to say end up because it is not like a like a logarithmic curve, but there's a clear endpoint in the master thesis. So during a whole semester, which is like half of the course, you will have the opportunity to make your ideas come true. So if we have succeed in give you the knowledge or help you navigate this technical space and give you the abilities to master AI, to incorporate it into your practices. This is the moment in which you create or make it true. Just like introduce these new technologies into your personal practice. How and use them to transform what you have been previously done into something else, probably. So there's two parts here: portfolio development and thesis project, we call it. Portfolio development is one of the, we can say there's several things that you're going to come out with these masters. One of the main ones is this one. You're going to, or we will try that you end up the masters with a solid, outstanding portfolio of work. We will help you out with that in trying to select what projects are the better to do and how to create them so they stand out into your larger career framework. And then is the thesis project, which is the endpoint, so to speak. It is you will advance here conceptual development, integrating research with practice, technical sophistication. Who wrote that? Public presentation throughout documentation. So it is the culmination of the whole process. You are going to apply into one big project what you have learned through the whole process. Finally, there's two more aspects to it. These are the main subjects, the main modules. They are going to be punctuated by again, hands-on, practice-based. I don't want to call it experiences, but they are, because some of them are really with relevant artists or practitioners. So there's quite a reasonable amount of workshop, intensive, hands-on, focused, and express practical experience with artists and developers. And then capsules that are more focused in specific practices, say cinema, sound, typography. How can we apply AI to the process of writing or creating a typeface? How can we apply AI to the artistic practice of performance? So these are very express experiences that will punctuate the whole course. And finally, we have also events that, of course, ELISAVA being ELISAVA and Barcelona being Barcelona, they are happening all around the year, and this will be also an opportunity to connect with other people. That's another of the things that this doing these masters in ELISAVA would do. You will be able to meet a lot of people that has the same problems in thinking, or even opposite, but you can discuss with them throughout really, not only in class or being their mentor, your mentors or your mates, but also in events all throughout the city that happen throughout the year. And that's it, I think.
I will very quickly, because I think that the most important part is hearing your questions. So I will kind of move swiftly with this. But who have we gathered so that we can actually start and deploy this program with you all? So essentially, I've tried to make it easier by differentiating the three group of professionals that we've selected who have got very different relationships and approaches to AI. So from this spectrum that Pau was telling you, there's a multiplicity
of nerds.
Thank you for saying that. So some of them consider themselves nerds, apparently. And so the first block of professors that I would like to introduce to you are the ones that really work from a theoretical, critical media, philosophical, and ethical approach. So Pau and I will be part of this first block. Also, Mireia, who works with AI and ethics and implementation of ethical AI in companies, Andreu Elsunce, sociologist of design, technology, and researcher, Bani Brusadin, independent curator, also working in the fields of art, technology, and society, or Luis Nacenta, who's a curator and researcher. You might know him because he was a curator of the first and I think only public exhibition done in Barcelona about AI, which was inaugurated last year. The second block, and I would say this is the most extensive block of teachers, are the ones that have got a really big hands-on approach, experimental mindsets that work with AI tools to produce works of art and design. So they will be doing the big part of the master's program, which is the technical domain to implementation, or the interactive and experimental applications, where we count with artists such as Manso, Joan Sandoval, again, the great work, multidisciplinary designers, Veronica Grishuk and Tin Trong, architects, and people who are all around AI creatives, as well as the collective, Taller Estampa, which is a local collective based in Barcelona, of 5 people who make their own code and tinker with the machine directly, creating models that end up in places as various as cultural institutions and museums. And finally, the third block would be those who work from a more curatorial or narrative creation point of view. Their work involves creating narratives around AI and technology, where we have Anquito, who's a journalist and design critic, Antonia Folguera, you might know her from her work at Sonoplasty as a creator, or Maria Santa Maria, who is a post-digital artist working in performance, body performance, and technology. Padin, that you today met, Maria Moreso, Carla de la Torre, Joana Bisba, who's here also with us. And probably if you have had any question previously to this webinar, she's been the lovely voice assisting you. Ana Guerra, journalist, writer, and storyteller, or Marco Nangla, who tinkers directly with technology in 16 times. So I think that we're going to move on during this final minutes to the Q&A. I think the best way to go forward would be if you wrote your questions on the chat, and we would try to address them as they come. So please shoot away. The floor is yours. I will read the questions out loud. So Burst said, I would like to ask that would it be beneficial to join this program for an interior designer, for example? Can I use interior design methods with AI in my thesis? I would say that part of our faculty members are architects or have got a big relationship with architecture. There will be one of the capsules that's particularly directed towards illustrating with AI for this kind of purposes. So for example, interior design. At the same time, I feel like this master's is pretty open for everyone, whether they come from an artistic or a design background, since in the end, this is about building your portfolio with AI tools. So whatever your main focus is, it will be your kind of side quest to make it whatever you want it to be. We're just going to be giving you a guidance and a set of tools so that your portfolio is whatever you want to be with this basic toolkit. I feel like this question can apply to many others. So I don't know, Power or Padin, if you want to add anything.
I think this is a very good question. And I think one of the realities when we were looking for other masters is that they are kind of very specialized into different disciplines. And a part of, I think, the joy and the interesting space that we have been exploring already in the master in data and design is that people come from very different disciplines. And like we have had from journalists, people coming from like economic careers, like more transdisciplinary artists and so on. And each of them took the information, took the tools, and applied later on into their field of work. right? And this is specifically what we will do. Most of the tools that we will be showing, like there are some like high level and low level. Low level are superficial, so let's say more epidermic tools that you can use through all the disciplines, but then we'll be going like deeper into some of the more technical tools, and depending on your discipline, you will be kind of spending more time in one part of the master or the other, right? So this will be a bit on you, Bears, to spend more time in that space, and we will give you the opportunity to do so. And the master thesis, which is a big part of the master, of course, this is where you will be able to actually deploy everything that you have learned for almost 6 months into something.
So long story short, if you think that interior design as a discipline can be extended and expanded and kind of be able to grow with AI, then yes, this master's can be for you.
So now we can have like this awkward silence for a bit, for a couple of more minutes.
No problem.
Cheers. And yes,
one thing that I wanted to say also, because it's one of the questions that Joanna was kind of bringing us kind of forward whenever she was already talking to people who are interested in the masters, is around data viz. And one of the things that we can confirm is that there will be also like a specific capsule dedicated to data visualization. So those who are looking at the MAT program and are wondering what happened with it, I feel like we explained very well the reason behind its evolution. But if you're still a person who's interested in data viz, I feel like our previous answer will still apply, but one of the capsules that will exist particularly will be with data viz.
Yeah, and for the ones interested on that space, you have to know that 50% of the faculty is still faculty from math, right? So we are talking about an evolution of the program, not like a switch of the whole program. So still a lot of the faculty that we're teaching, like the basis of data and how data interacts within society, will be now applying that to artificial intelligence, still with this background on data design. And Emma, I see you because you are the only one with a camera on. How are you doing? Yes. I know there is no microphone here. Okay.
We thought that you might have a question.
Yeah. Okay.
This can get into this very awkward performance. Oh, you were about to ask one. Great. I thought like you were first front row at a performance that you didn't want the main actor to kind of bring you up to stage, and we managed to exactly do that.
Yes, I'm very good at doing these things. Bringing the spotlight to the wrong place.
So Emma has asked, what does the class schedule look like, and how much time are we? Do you have classes versus capsules and workshops? Padin, please correct me on this one, or if you want to shoot.
No, classes are 3 days a week in the afternoon. So the whole program is designed so it's compatible with life, or that's what we like to think. It's free in the mornings, and you have 3 days in the week to work in the master and attend classes. Now, the proportion between the workshops and capsules and the rest of the hours is about, I don't know, in the math used to be like 15%, 20%, something about around that. But the thing here that for me is relevant, the other classes, except the ones that are theoretical, have the same approach. The only thing is that they are not compressed in a week, so you end up, hurrying up. So they are still practical, but more extended on time.
And to be specific about the schedule, at least what the schedule of MAT used to look like, was those afternoons that there were classes. Classes started at 5 p.m. until 7. There was like a first module of classes, and there was a second one from 7:15 to 9:15, and that was the final schedule. So all afternoons from 5 to 9 p.m. Yeah, so we have a new question about the specific AI tools and technologies that we will be taught, or if there will be new flexibility to choose during the course. I will let Paul answer this question because we actually brought a list of different technologies.
Yeah, so of course we will be working with all kind of LLM models. That means that working from Grok to Cloud to GPTs, Perplexity, DeepSeek. So this will be mostly to understand the basics of all these systems. Then we will work to fine tune these models and understand the differences between them, like for which kind of things there are models that work better than the others, and we will put them to the limits. So the idea is to actually get to the space where you are starting to get actually banned by Cloud and GPT for the kind of things that you are trying to do, but to put them to the limit. And then there are like a big set of software. This is on LLMs, basic LLMs, and of course image generators and video generators. We have from LTX Studio, BO2, that we have like this partnership with Google. We have also a partnership with Crea, which have already more than 20 different models, both image generators and video generators that we will be able to test and use. And you will have like this set of tools within the master. We will work also, of course, with 11 Labs and Suno for the sound design and sound exploration. And then the other part, which I think is very interesting and important, is to understand the interactive side, which that means Touch Designer, BotPress, and Spline, and also, of course, Hunch, which are workflows to design systems that have both video, image, and process of automation, right? That means that instead of just using one model isolated, you are creating an ecosystem of different models that interact between them. Right? So this, in terms of technical capacities, is what we will be exploring. And then with Stampa, with Colectivo Stampa, they want to actually really go from zero, like from Python code and how to create like your own very, very, very simple AI systems and generative systems. So you can understand from the basis, from the like very simple examples and from your own raw data, how to generate something. So that means that you will touch advanced systems that of course it will be impossible for an individual to generate, and you will be fine-tuning them, like tweaking them and learning how to play, and then you will be creating something from zero too.
At the same time, and if I can add one last thing, I would have said that a couple of months ago, probably we wouldn't have included DeepSeek into this mix. So as you will all understand, those softwares change massively day after day. So the ones that we're presenting today will of course be modified, and the reason why we have chose the body of professors and the faculty that we've chosen is because they're all very updated professionals who are using AI on their everyday practice. So these are the ones that we can expect of today, and we will only add more as we see fit. So it will be a journey of evolution for everyone.
Great. Okay.
So it is 12:30 now. Do we have any other last question before we wrap up?
Do the projects have to be physical or hands-on, or they can be entirely digital? That's Kalina asking.
Hi, Kalina. Thank you. So in this sense, it's going to be pretty open. Of course, all projects will have some kind of digitality, seeing the medium that we are working, which is AI, and it does operate on digital ecosystems. But at the same time, we, and specifically at Domestic Data Streamers, love bringing this digitality to new formats. So as Pau was saying before, how can AI exist as an interaction in a museum, in a faculty, in a university, in the streets? So we will have, and very particularly the blog where we're talking about the whole interactive ecosystem and more experimental outcomes. This will allow or open up the possibility to work on a physical spaces. I feel like one of the, or at least different outcomes that we have shown are very web-based, like we showed a plugin and we showed a chatbot, but there's many other examples of outcomes that we can show that have got this three-dimensional spatial environment to it. So both, I would say, and it depends on you if you want for your final thesis to go more on a physical route and have all these AI systems operating on something that's physical, three-dimensional, that has a bit of production, or if you want to stick to two-dimensional on-screen formats.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just shared the email if you have further questions. So just for you to have it. And yeah, so thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you all. I hope that we
Thank
see
you
you all
all.
soon.
Yes, and if at any point you have questions, thoughts, things to share, feel free to reach us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Bye.
Goodbye,
My
everyone.
pleasure. Thank
Happy
you.
Tuesday.
Thank you very much.
Bye.